Recording in progress.
Yeah, so welcome. The 16 guidelines, if you have not heard of them before, they are basically just guidelines by which to live our life, ways to live our lives more happily, more peacefully, to invite more positive energy into our lives. So although they were founded, they're kind of based on these codes of conduct that were created by a Tibetan king in the 7th century in Tibet. They're based on that, but they're not actually Buddhist by, any sort of tradition or any Buddhist teaching. They were actually just created by a ruler to rule his people better and to invite more happiness into his society. And so these guidelines are kind of things that we practice and meditate on to invite that positivity into our lives. So we are on the 12th one today, which is loyalty. And this word loyalty, it might bring about positive or negative or any kinds of associations. We'll explore the word a bit more later so that we can get a clear definition of what that means. Before we do, we can just start by coming into the present moment, coming into our bodies, just taking some deep breaths, becoming aware of the space around you, awakening your spatial awareness, your sensory awareness. And we'll start, as we always do, with setting a motivation, setting an intention for our session. And after we set the intention, we'll practice shamatha, calm abiding, for about 10 minutes, just to bring our minds into the present, into focus. And then we will move into the session. So take a moment to get into a comfortable posture, any comfortable sitting meditation posture. If you're sitting on a cushion, you might want to bring your hips towards the edge of the cushion so that your knees fall below the hips and your spine naturally straightens up. And your hands can be resting on your lap or on your knees, wherever is comfortable. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your arms are relaxed. Elbows are a little bit away from the body. And your neck is also relaxed, tilting about halfway downwards, allowing the back of the neck to elongate, allowing your spine to stretch a little more. And just allow all the other muscles around the spine in the back to just relax. And moving up to the face, you can relax your jaw, relax your cheekbones. Your tongue is just touching the upper part of the mouth behind the teeth. This helps prevent saliva from forming during your meditation and having to constantly swallow. And your gaze is about 2 meters on the floor in front of you. Your eyes can be cracked open just a little bit to let some light in, especially if you're feeling drowsy or sleepy. So you're not really looking at anything, but your eyes are just cracked open or half open, allowing some light to enter, maintaining a connection with the outer world. If it feels like that's causing you more distraction, you can keep your eyes gently shut as well. And finally, I like to put a smile on my face just to allow all the facial muscles to relax. All that tension held between the eyebrows, around the eyes, in the jaw. Allowing yourself to let go of whatever you're carrying with you into the space, into your meditation practice. Allowing it to drop. And just becoming aware of your body and the sensations. Now becoming aware of your breath, the flow of your breath, either at your abdomen as it rises and falls, or at the very tip of your nose, observing the sensations the breath forms there. Pick one of these 2 points and just allow your mind to rest there. Becoming aware of the sensations, the temperature, the movement. Noticing that your breath is breathing on its own, and your awareness is simply present to it. It's like an invisible observer. If you find distractions pulling your mind away from your breath, allow it to just gently come back without frustration, without anger. Just release whatever the thought was and return to the breath. relaxing your awareness onto your breath. Practice staying present to your breath for about 5 minutes on your own. And now we just set a brief intention for being here today, for taking this 1 hour out of our busy days. We set an intention so that our practice and whatever we do during this session has a direction. It has a purpose. So thinking about the eve of the US presidential election, which is a big one, very deciding one for what the next 4 years of not just the US, but obviously the whole world might look like. And that can really affect our motivation to practice. Leaders keep changing. One country goes to war with another. Economies go up and down. But really, all we have at the end of the day is our minds, all that we take with us into the next life and life after life is just our karmic imprints, also known as our mind stream. So we really want to make a strong motivation to train our minds to practice as much as we can in this precious human life that we have. Because everything else is just going to change. It's going to come and go. All that we're going to be left with when we die is our minds, our karmic imprints. Just take a moment to make a strong motivation for yourself. You can put it in your own words. Set an intention for being here today and for practicing. We have one brave person who braved the pollution and Delhi traffic. Come in person, so congratulations. You can slowly come out of your sitting practice and become aware of your surroundings again. So we practice shamatha before any session, any teaching, even analytical meditations, because it helps our minds focus. And it allows us to go even deeper into our contemplation, into our analysis. So you may be able to feel that for yourself, hopefully. So moving into our topic for today. So I mentioned loyalty at the beginning of the session, and people may have their own associations with that word. What is meant by loyalty, according to the 16 guidelines, is something you can think of it somewhat related to equanimity and compassion, what we talk about in the four immeasurables, where we are really there and present for anybody and everybody, no matter who they are. We're not just loyal to our partner or to our friends. We can be loyal to our country, we can be loyal to people who are in need, we can be loyal to, all sentient beings, we can be loyal to the Buddha and his teachings. So it might have different definitions for each of us. I'll just give you an example to kind of get a sense of what this word can look like. You may know of Aung San Suu Kyi, who is also known as Lady of Burma. Do people know her? People recognize that name. She was a key figure in Burma's independence movement. So she was imbued with a strong sense of loyalty to her country by her father. And she actually had a fiance. She was about to get married. And she wrote him a letter that, it won't actually, her loyalty is to serve her country. And she was under house arrest for 10 years. Was as a woman at the forefront of the independence movement, so suffered a lot of difficulties and torture and threats to her life. But she's seen as one of, a very strong figure of and an example of what loyalty looks like, unwavering loyalty, the unwavering quality of it. So I'm sharing this example not because, we all need to be like that or like that's some ideal we have to become like, but we can learn from it in the sense that what did loyalty do for her and for others around her? So we can learn what are the benefits of loyalty. So I'd like to hear from people, from others, and I will allow people on Zoom to unmute themselves. Are there any initial thoughts? And we'll do a practice to go deeper into this, but just any initial thoughts on what loyalty means for you, what loyalty looks like, and is it something that's beneficial that we should practice that can bring us happiness? Would anyone like to share anything? Can even be a personal example, a moment where you showed loyalty and it had some kind of impact. No thoughts yet, that's okay. You can reflect on your own in private. I will read out now what a little section from the 16 guidelines about loyalty so that we can kind of understand a little bit more what is meant by it. So the 16 guidelines say that loyalty is something that can be shown on a grand scale, loyalty towards a nation, and it can also be on a very intimate scale. It can be individual. And it is defined as a commitment to be there for one another, to stand alongside each other when in need, and to show one's allegiance to the other person in order to allow for compassion to flow freely. So when there's loyalty, there is also compassion. When we are able to be loyal to somebody, we more readily help them. We are ready to jump up to serve them, to be there for them in whatever way they need. Some of you may be thinking, how can we be loyal to people who have harmed us maybe, or who are difficult for us? Or how can we be loyal to somebody who hasn't been loyal to us maybe, or who has betrayed us? So that's kind of where we can explore for ourselves, what does loyalty mean? Is loyalty always beneficial? So if we are loyal to somebody who is not loyal to us, is that still a good thing or not? So these are just some questions that you can explore when we do the meditation. And I just want to, before we do the meditation, I'm just going to read out a few questions, which you can sit with. You're welcome to close your eyes or just listen to these questions and see what comes up for you. So, a truly loyal person is always sincere. They show subtle yet powerful signs that they care. They are faithful in a way that they show up during both good and bad times. What makes us care enough to speak up or to stand up for someone else, no matter what? To make a public gesture and experience whatever personal inconvenience, discomfort, or challenges this brings. What is it, that thing that allows us to do that? This call to action comes from somewhere in our guts. Comes from somewhere deep within, and it's not constructed. The act of being loyal is not just an external gesture, but a profound internal shift where we prioritize the well-being of others as equal to our own. This shift in focus is where the magic of loyalty truly begins. So, to whom are you loyal to and why? And how can loyalty contribute to our happiness? These are the questions that we will kind of sit with. And I'll again invite anyone who wants to share any initial thoughts. And it really helps to, share thoughts with each other so that others can also learn, because loyalty is going to look very different for each person, depending on our circumstances. So if anyone wants to share any thoughts before we go into the formal practice, please do. On Zoom, you can just unmute yourself. You don't have to raise your hand.
Loyalty could be something as simple as practicing lighting a diya.
Hmm. Yeah, were you going to say more, or that's all? I
Yeah,
think
it
you're on.
has a certain universal appeal.
Yeah. Yeah, and can I ask, Neil, do you find it easy or difficult to practice it in day-to-day life? Of course, with people close to us, it's easy. People whom offer us some kind of benefit in return. But what about when there's nothing offered in return? It's just out of our hearts.
It does get kind of challenging in cases where there's unconditionality or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, that's also okay to feel that, for it to be conditional right now, because we are not, we're not enlightened beings. So it might be difficult in some circumstances rather than others. And it's up to us to kind of look at that for ourselves. What are the situations where it's not so easy to practice it, and learn how to make it easier? Yeah, so hopefully this practice will allow us to explore it a little bit deeper. Unless anybody has any other thoughts. Oh, did somebody want to say something? Somebody unmuted themselves. No, okay. So yeah, we can share again later as well. So we can start, we'll do like about a 20-minute formal practice, exploring loyalty. So just allow yourself to get back into that comfortable meditation posture, straightening your spine again, relaxing all the muscles in your face, your shoulders, your back, opening up your chest. An open chest allows you to approach whatever the meditation is with a kind of bravery and a confidence, an openness. And you can take a few deep breaths to allow your mind to come back into the present, into your body. And be taking 3 long conscious breaths. And allow these questions, the following questions, to just sit and rest in your mind. Allow your mind to engage with it however it wants to. What do we mean by loyalty? Is it simple and straightforward, or is it more complex and needs further exploration? Is it something you just feel instinctively, or something you need to think more about and practice? How important is loyalty? Is it necessary for our happiness? Giving and receiving loyalty is the key to building stable friendships and relationships. We flourish when we feel safe and supported, when we feel valued and understood. Bring to mind a time when a family member or a friend or a colleague was particularly loyal to you. It may have been a time when you were feeling hurt or vulnerable, and this person stood up for you in a way that really made a difference for you. Bring this memory to mind as vividly as you can. And remember what this person did or said to support you. Did their support make any real significant difference to the situation? Or was it just their emotional support and presence that made a difference for you? How did it feel for you to experience loyalty from this person? Did it change your relationship with this person? And how do you feel about that memory now? Among all of the 16 guidelines, loyalty is said to be one of the most powerful and profound ones. It's not something that can be forced, but it rises instinctively from the very core of our being. In extreme situations like wars and natural disasters, loyalty can make the difference between life and death. The following exercise is an invitation to explore this important quality by looking at the unique way in which we each experience loyalty in our bodies, in our gut, in our bones. So I invite you to focus your attention as strongly and clearly as you can, not on the circumstances in which loyalty arose, the memory that we just recalled, but now on the felt quality of loyalty itself. It might help to bring to mind a moment in which you were loyal to someone, and then focus on the felt sensation in your body. Notice which part of your body feels loyalty most strongly. Does it have a color, a shape, a sound, maybe words? Is it large or small? Focused or expansive? Is it warm or cool to the touch? How old is this sense of loyalty? Is it young and new, or is it ancient? When do you remember first feeling a sense of loyalty in your body? What role does loyalty have in your day-to-day life now? And does it do well in that role? Does it need something from you to do its role better? And if so, what does it need? Can you imagine yourself being loyal to those beyond your immediate circle, to strangers, even to difficult people? And if not, then what would it take to allow your loyalty to grow in order to encompass more and more people? Notice what other feelings come up in you when you experience loyalty from somebody else, even a stranger. There may be feelings of joy, of gratitude, warmth. Allow yourself to touch into the feeling of being loyal to others and receiving loyalty from others. It's not something we generally think about, so allow yourself to become familiar with it, or get to know it a little better. Remember to be gentle with yourself in your exploration, in exploring these questions. Just the simple recognition and awareness of your capacity for loyalty, your innate capacity to be loyal, will begin a process of change. Now gently move away from this dialogue with their inner sense of loyalty and give yourself permission to let go and relax. Consider that the more we are able to develop our capacity for loyalty towards people and other living creatures around us, the easier it will be to build warm, stable, loving relationships, which we all depend on for our happiness and well-being. If you found this exercise helpful, I invite you to repeat it to continue the transformative process of developing our sense of loyalty and our capacity to be loyal, even with people who are difficult for us. And I also invite you after the session to just journal, to note down what images came to your mind, what memories came to your mind, just as a starting point. May the practice of loyalty enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. And whenever you feel ready, you can gently open your eyes, trying to maintain the thread between your cushion and the rest of the world. Trying to carry with you whatever thoughts, whatever came up during the meditation as you come back to your surroundings. And even after that, as you exit your room or wherever your meditation space is, your private space, and as you interact with others, trying to carry that with you. So just take a few minutes to hear any thoughts, any feedback, anything anyone wants to say after the practice. If there are any thoughts, please feel free to share. You're also welcome to share here. Yeah.
I just want to ask you something
Take
that
it.
basically, we are expecting loyalty from others. Do you think that is a lot of expectation? And do you think this whole practice of meditation on loyalty, when we are assuming and meditating on loyalty, will it attract loyal people to us? Because a lot of people that we meet are disloyal, or in this whole trend of multiple partners and everything, loyalty is a rarity actually. So do you think this meditation practice will also let us be with people who are like us? Thanks.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, and I'd love to hear other people's thoughts as well. I can only share my thoughts. In Buddhism, there's definitely a rule of attraction, that law of attraction, which is like kind of a very common colloquial phrase, but it's definitely true in terms of karma, we can say. Yeah, that what you practice, and also that what one lets go of expecting, that is what ends up coming back to us. So there's kind of the stronger, like you were asking about, we expect loyalty from others. If we have high expectations and we're very attached to those expectations, it can very well be that it doesn't happen because of the tightness that we hold, the tightness of our mind when we are expecting something from another person and not just allowing the person to be as they are. But when we practice it, we're not doing it while expecting that it will happen. So we shouldn't practice loyalty thinking that, oh, if I practice loyalty, others will be loyal to me. So that's not exactly the approach that that I would say we should go in with it, but it is often the case that that is how it happens. Yeah, and I would just invite you to try it for yourself and see what happens, to just practice loyalty, just out of a desire to, that same wish that you have, that we all have, for others to be there for us when times are difficult. Even people who maybe are never there for us, but you know, we want that support system. We look for that community to be that for another person, knowing that each and every other person also wants that loyalty. So yeah, if we can practice in that way, that's the approach I would suggest, not thinking about, you know, what will come of it. Yeah, just out of a desire to offer that loyalty back and then see what happens. That's all I would like to say. If anyone else wants to share anything, please do respond to that. Or if anyone has any other thoughts they want to share, experiences. Actually, would you mind using this so that on Zoom they can hear you? Okay, go ahead.
It doesn't really have to be person-centric, right? So it can be driven to, let's say, what you do or the different people that you meet through the day. You can be loyal to what you do as well, right? Like you're being loyal to Buddhism by being here. So it does not really have to be just person-centric. That's one thing that I feel. And when it's lady, you practicing loyalty is more than enough, right? If someone else people there, they are not in our control. So whatever they do is up to them. Really,
Yeah.
It's too idealistic to think so, but at the end of the day, we really can't control what the other person.
Yeah, thank you. So somebody to respond to you, I don't know your name. It says iPhone on here. But somebody responded to you in the center saying that what we can only practice loyalty from our own side and we can't really control what comes back. So yeah, I think that's a good advice. And also that what was said at the center is that loyalty is not just not necessarily just between people, among people, but we can be loyal to ideas, to causes, and that can end up benefiting many people as well. So, you know, allow your ideas of loyalty to go beyond just feeling like, you know, in terms of how we usually use the word loyal, like in terms of loyalty and betrayal, or in terms of relationships or friendships, but actually it can be much, much more than that. And when we really know our values and are loyal to our own values, we can really impact many, many beings. And also it's not just about impacting other beings. And this is, you know, in the 16 guidelines, it says it's not, loyalty is not just benefiting others, it also helps us. So the 16 guidelines are basically to cultivate our own happiness. So in what way is loyalty benefiting us as well in cultivating, developing our own well-being and happiness? That's something we can all think about. not just to offer to other people, but what is it doing for us? That's really, it's equally beneficial to us. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all who have shared. And since we are past 7:30, I just want to quickly dedicate before people have to leave the session. We can just dedicate briefly all of the merits that were accumulated from being here together, from exploring this topic, from practicing and meditating. Dedicate it to any particular person whom you would like, whether it's your gurus, your teachers, people who are unwell, or who have recently passed away. Also dedicating to the people and the voters of the US, and hoping that tomorrow we have a leader in the US and who impacts the rest of the world as well, who will bring more positivity and light rather than hatred into this world. And dedicating to all those who are in war zones and situations of conflict, who are hungry, thirsty, sick, or dying. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, and attain full enlightenment. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining today. I will just stop the recording, but if anyone has other thoughts, please feel free to share.